Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Lurch from the Addams family to go with my Addams family set for Halloween. For our suit we're using black, and I'll be doing one arm and one leg with you and having you pause for the other two. We have black for the suit, black for the tie, white for the kind of collar here, collar area, skin tone for the face. You can use any skin tone that you like. And for the hair, you have a bit of an option, because if you want to go with the newer Addams Family movie, you might want to use black. If you are going with the black and white version, you can use gray. And since the hair is so light, you can probably get away with using a gold or a yellow as well if you'd prefer. I am using black beads for the eyes. You can use bands if you like. One of the reasons that I am using gray for the hair here is so that it has a little more of a contrast with the eyes, just so you know. So we're gonna start. We are gonna make one arm and one leg together. For the arm, you'll be taking 2 skin tone bands and wrapping them twice around your hook. Now at this point I will be using sets of triple bands, so 3 bands at a time. If you want to conserve your bands, or that seems difficult, you can stick with 2 bands for each set on the arms and the legs. The 3 will make it thicker and just a little more solid looking. So we're going to do 8 sets of triple bands. I'll take another set, put it at the end of the hook, pull the bands off of my hook and over these 3. Put the other end back on, and repeat until we have a total of 8. So we're going to do 6 more times. This will be our 3rd set. Our 4th set. Fifth set. 6. 7, oops, and 8. And once you have this ready on your hook, I'll ask you to pause and make a second arm for later. Now let's make our foot and our legs. I'm using this boot technique from by Kate Shultz from Izzalicious Designs. I'll try to remember to get the link in the description for you. And what we're going to do is take 2 bands of whatever color you'd like for your boots, shoes. I'm using black. We're going to wrap them twice on the bottom. You can wrap them 3 times if you want it to be a little tighter. And we're going to take 2 bands and pull these on top. Put the other end back on. And we're going to do this one more time, and then we'll put the 2 pieces together. So 2 bands, wrap them 2 or 3 times. Pull them onto another 2 bands, and before we replace the ends here, we're going to do a little bit of a switch. Oops, this part doesn't want to go. So you'll take your first set and you'll see 4 bands. We're going to take the 2 closest to the end and pull these over, and then you'll be putting your finger in here, taking this side off the hook, and we'll put this side on the hook in its place. And now we take the other end over and put this back on. And we are going to use sets of triple bands again. It'll be 7 this time, 7 sets. And once more, if you'd like to use double bands instead, that's just fine. So there is 1, 2, 3. Make sure you get it through all of them so that it slides nicely back and forth. 4. 5. 6 and 7. I will ask you to pause one more time and make your other leg. You can give this a little tug at the bottom when you're done and try and pull it down to the side. Right, once you have all of your limbs on your hook, we're going to go to the loom, and we'll have it in our standard offset position, configuration position, with the top row just above the other two. I've started the layout here to sort of speed things up and to give you a glance of what you'll have here. And let me walk you through it. We have 2 hair colored bands coming from our top center to our top right, and 2 skin tone hair colored bands from our top center to our top left. We'll come down each row or each column twice with double hair colored bands. And then we come down either side twice with skin tone bands, double again. So from the 3rd to the 4th, and the 4th to the 5th on either side. 3 more sets of double skin tone down the middle, and we're going to join them, meet them up from the 5th sides to the 6th center. And it doesn't matter which side you do first as long as they both get on there. We'll take 2 more skin tone bands and come from the 6th center to the 7th in the center for our neck. And then we're going to make that white centerpiece by taking double bands, coming down from the 7th center to the 7th right. So you're just going to skip over 1 peg here. And from the 7th center to the 7th on the left, you'll come down with double bands, double white bands, twice in the center. And this will bring you to the 5th peg from the bottom if you're counting up. And we will take double bands from the 7th sides to the 8th in the center. Again, it doesn't matter which side you come from first. Now the rest of the loom we're going to fill in all with all black. So using double black bands, let's come down each row all the way to the bottom. And then I'll give you a second to pause if you need so you can check that you have everything here. Almost done. 2 more sets. And take a minute to check that this is what you have before you. When you're ready, you can put your arms on this peg near the middle. It is your 7th peg down on either side. And we are going to be putting our feet on the bottommost pegs on either side. Try and get your toes to point the way you want when you go about it here. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the bands right off the hook and sliding them directly onto the peg very carefully so that I'm sure I'm getting all of them. We're going to put our other leg on. I'm putting mine on kind of backwards here since I want it to face the other way. I'm not sure if that worked. There we go. We need some cap bands and we need some eyes. So let's put our cap bands first. We are going to need a doubled over single black band to go over our bottommost 3 pegs. So we're going to do a triangle with a doubled over band, and you can pull this piece up over the center. We'll be using single triangle bands for the rest until we get to the face, because we want our face to be a little tighter. So the next 4 are going to be black here, and then we're switching to white. Okay, and this next one is going to be white because we don't want our black to show through. That's a total of 6 6 holding bands in this bottom section. On our face, we're going to be using doubled over triangle bands from your 5th to your 5th and up over the 5th one. And right above that we need one more skin tone doubled over from the 4th to the 4th and up over the 4th in the middle. We're going to use doubled over gray bands. The reason I'm doing this is so that we don't have a round puffed out face. We want him to have a very long face, and this makes it work better. So we're going to double over another gray band, put it up where the skin tone ends, and let's do one more here. Trying to find a band of mine which is already a little stretched out still. There we are. And stretch, double from your 2nd to your 2nd and over your 2nd. We're actually almost done. We're going to make the eyes, and while I remember, let's make the piece for our bow tie. So for the tie here, I'm going to take a single and wrap it really tight around my hook. So 3, 4, 5 times. And I will put this onto a doubled over single black. And this will keep it from flopping about. I'm just pulling this right on top of my doubled over black. We'll put the other end on the hook. And this is going to fit on top of our top white piece here, the 7th peg down in the center where we finished our neck. We're transferring this off of our hook and onto there. Don't worry too much about which direction it's sitting because we can adjust that later. For the eyes, if you are using bands, what you can do is wrap your band 3 times onto the hook, wrap your 2nd band, and pull these both onto a single skin tone band. If you're using beads, you can use the same method if they fit on your hook and slide them over. If your beads are like mine with very small holes, then I'll show you this trick. And I'm afraid off the top of my head I can't remember where I first saw this. I'd like to give credit here, but what we'll be doing is taking a piece of dental floss, or you can use a very thin wire, and we pull it through, push it through the center of both beads because we're going to string them on together. The dental floss goes through our skin tone band, then we fold it back over and push it back through the beads from the opposite direction, and we should be able to then slide these right on. I should mention now, just before we go further, if you have white beads that you'd like to use, small white beads, and add a pupil on later, you can do that. We're going to take our skin tone band with our eyes, whatever form they may be, and place them from our 4th peg down to our 4th peg down on the opposite side. Try and get your hook in between. And we're going to take one side of this band and pull it up and over the 4th center peg. You might need to use your fingers here. Okay. Some days it's harder than others. Alright, there we go. If you have everything in place here, then we can start looping. We're going to start at the center bottom, and the reason for that is so that we can make sure we loop up our white inner shirt pieces. We're going to take the bottom 2 and bring them up over the 2nd peg from the bottom. Get your next 2, bring them up over the 3rd peg from the bottom. We're going to keep going up 3 times, so 2, 3, and here you'll see we have a lot of white bands, and we need to look for the top 2, which should be these from the right. Very carefully grab those 2 bands. You can grab them one at a time if it's easier, or even pull them to the side to see better. We're bringing them back to the peg that they came from, which was our right 7th peg down. We need to find our next 2 and bring them back to the opposite side. And I'm not going to loop up the top here just yet, but we'll have to remember that once we get there. Let's go up the side. we're looking for the bottom 2 bands. We're going to push back everything else. We'll have a little tension with that cap band, but that's okay. They're holding bands here. We want to watch out for them. We're going to loop right up until we get to the arm piece. And once more, we have a lot of bands, but we just need the bottom 2. You might want to pull them out to the side with your finger or your hook. You might want to turn your loom right to the side to see better. We'll push our hook in with the open part facing away and scoop up those 2 bands. And they go to the center. We'll do this again for the other side. Oh dear, I sort of forgot something here, but easy to remedy. This is one of those strange patterns that seems to have its backside looks nicer. So we're going to do a little flip once we get up the body. We're looping up the right side, pushing back our holding bands and just coming up straight. And one more time, come in, get these 2 white diagonal bands from underneath. Really important, make sure you come back for these last 2 white. And then we're going to press in and get our neck bands and lift them up. And as I said, this is kind of a strange pattern. I did put it all on the loom at the same time, but we will have to flip this bottom piece. So keep your finger on the neck piece, and we're going to slowly remove the rest of this from the loom. And just make sure that we are ready and happy with the side that we put in front. When you're ready and you've loosened some tension, you can take this off by the neck piece. And you can see this is the front, and our black kind of covers some of the white. It looks sort of sloppy. So what we need to do is flip it over to where most of our white is showing. You can take your hook right out carefully, put it back from the opposite direction, and we're going to place this right back on the loom, right where it was, from our 6th peg down to our 7th. Now let's look for the top 2 bands under the neck. And they are going to the right. We'll loop those. We'll find the next 2 and take them to the left. From here it's a pretty standard triple single loop that we're going to do. So we're coming up the center. Just avoid those triangle bands. And you can pick a side, any side. Find your bottom 2 bands and bring those up. Once more, watch out for your triangle bands as you're coming under. And these bands here are a little tighter because we doubled some over for the holding bands. When you're at the top, grab your last 2 diagonals and loop them up and to the center. And we need to come to the other side and loop up once more. We're only looking at those bottom bands. Push back the eyepiece and the holding bands, keep going. Last one, diagonal, bring it in from the side. And we are going to secure this before taking it off of the loom here. So grab a gray band or hair colored band, and you're going to take your hook with the open part facing away from you, bring it through the bands on your top center peg, grab onto your hair colored band and pull it back through, turn your hook around, we'll pull one end over the other to create a slip knot. Carefully remove from your loom, and then we'll do just a couple of finishing touches here. Lots of tension here, so just be careful. Alright, if If you have any loose bands, you can hide them away now. Make sure you've got everything facing the front, and then you can take your securing band and hide it in the back. I'm going to pull it under a couple of these other bands, and we'll stick it onto a C-clip. Let's find the bow tie. We're going to push it through, pull it under, any way you can get it out. We want it to sit kind of above the white. And you will put your hook through. It should be facing so that the lines are coming down vertically. We're going to try and reach all the way through. We made it nice and tight so our pieces won't slip, but that also will make it harder to get in the first time. And one more. Grab 2 black bands and pull them through, put them on your hook, pull them through halfway so that they sit in the middle like a tie. And you can give it a little stretch and a tug as it goes so it doesn't slip out. As I said, if you have any loose bands, you can fix them. And I'll show you how to make the eyebrows and the mouth if you're interested. For the mouth, you can pick the color that you like. I'm gonna use purple this time just to see how it looks. And we're gonna come through from the back. You'll see 4 bands right in the center. We want to grab this on either side of those 4 bands. And we'll come oops. Let me pick a darker color so you can see it a little better. Okay, we're coming through to the right where we want our mouth to be. We'll pull it back through. Try and hold on to it. And then keeping a hold on this, we want to come in through from the other side, on the opposite side. Put your band back on and pull it to the back. This can be secured on a C-clip, and this can be the same C-clip or a different one. And this can be stretched out a little bit if you want it to be a wider mouth. You can just give it a little tug. I'm not sure why my eye is sinking here. We'll just keep pushing it up. There, it's okay. For the eyebrows, you are going to take a black band, and for either side you'll be coming in right here on top of the eye and on the inside between these 2 bands. So I'm just going to show you for one. We come in on top of the eye, the center, pull your black band through to the back, and then we want to grab it again right in these where these gray bands are. Gonna pull it through, and this can go on a C-clip, but not too very tight. If you do it too tight, it'll kind of squish in and disappear. As it is, you might even want to pull it out a little bit or bring it lower just to make it clearer. This will show up a lot better if you're using the yellow or gold, but you'll still see it somewhat with gray, probably not so much with the black. So there is your Lurch, and I have most of the Addams family set out. I have a couple more to finish for you. I hope you'll check them all out, and I thank you for watching.